Hello, ENV 111 students, and welcome to the class and week one. I just wanted to make this video to highlight a couple interesting features of the class. The first being that there is a virtual laboratory experiment by a company named Labster that will be in weeks one, 3, and 5. And those virtual labs, they're essentially similar to a video game or a simulation that would run on a computer. And you need to have a current version of Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox. Those are the two supported browsers. If you have other browsers, it may work, but it may not. And your computer needs to be probably within probably 7 years old or so. It runs on my laptop, which is over 7 years old, and it's not a very high-end computer by any means. So and that can still handle the labs. You will be able to access the labs as of the first day of the class. And if you have any issues with that, reach out to your instructor and they should be able to help you navigate tech support on those virtual labs. The virtual lab is an activity that you do. There's background information in the lab. You're going to be manipulating different items and experimental equipment in the virtual setting. And you're also going to have access to background information, graphs and charts and other things that relate to the lab. And you will be kind of quizzed and assessed as you go through and take the lab. There's no time limit on the lab. The labs should take you, if you're very quick and knowledgeable about these items, maybe as little as an hour to complete the actual activity. Or if you're really taking your time and reading carefully through everything and taking time, it could take 2 or 3 hours depending on your pace. But yeah, within the lab, you will be prompted with like essentially quiz questions, and those are not timed. You can take your time and you can look back through the lab materials. There's a thing called the lab pad in the virtual lab. It's essentially like a virtual iPad of sorts that you can pull up by clicking on the tab or the icon that indicates the lab pad. And that's where you can scroll through and navigate through all of the information related to the lab. And you can do that as the quiz question comes up to reference and to come up with what you feel is the best answer. The other thing is that the labs can be completed more than once, and it should take your best score on the lab quiz that you do throughout the lab. So if you get through it once and you're not happy with your score, which will register to the grade book and will factor into your final grade. If you're not happy with it, you can go through, take longer, and you can do the lab again and as many times as you want until you get the score that you want. And if you have any issues with that, reach out to your instructor. We're always happy to help. In week one, there is also a activity where you're going to be looking at some wildlife cameras from this national park. And will have pictures of animals. Some of them do, some of them don't. The environment that is obviously in the area that the camera is active. And you're going to come up with some hypotheses. You're going to come up with, predictions and then kind of work through the scientific process in determining how the environment impacts what animals we may or may not see in a certain area. So that is another, it is in a way somewhat of a lab or simulation activity as well, just using a different system. But there's a Labster virtual lab in week one on water quality and how it impacts fish. And then there's the WildCam activity, which is also in week one. There is discussion, and then, another key feature of this class is that it is organized each week into learning modules. And each week has 5 different learning modules. And after you complete one, you should, as you complete the modules, you can either do all of the weekly readings before you start working on the modules, or you can kind of do like the module 1, and then it will tell you what the readings are related to that module. You can do the module, which involves videos, some textual information, sometimes and often sources that you should read and review, including sources from the textbook. And then you can move from module 1 to module 2. And then after you complete module 2, you'll have a short quiz of a few questions that will just assess your progress, make sure that you're understanding the key concepts. And that you can also take more than one time. You can take it as many times as you want until you have completed the quiz to your satisfaction. And that will obviously tell you if you're missing things there, then you might want to go back and review the modules where you missed that point. And then you'll do modules 3, 4, and 5, and then there will be another quiz assessment. And it follows this pattern for the 5 weeks of the course. So yeah, those are kind of somewhat of the unique features. Obviously, this class is very much about sustainability, all the different dimensions, how it relates to all aspects of the planet, human society, human life, business, government, policies, housing, transportation, fuels. This class is really going to give you a broad overview and really focus on the key topics related to human sustainability so that you have that groundwork foundation to then go on to other courses that get more in depth in different topics. But this course kind of gives you the broad overview and also really focuses on the interconnection between all of these different aspects of sustainability, because when you're talking about water issues then can impact agriculture. Agriculture can impact human health. Water issues can also directly impact human health. All of these sustainable systems and factors are interconnected, and it's important to understand those connections if we're going to work towards solving the challenges that we face collectively in the future. So I look forward to talking to you in the discussion board and in week 1, and hope you have a great week 1. Thanks.